Well, as the war in Iran intensifies, mental health experts say many U.S. veterans are feeling the impact here at home. The constant images of missiles, troop deployments, and fallen service members can re-trigger trauma from past wars, including Iraq and Afghanistan. The U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs estimates between 11 and 20% of veterans from the Iraq and Afghanistan wars experience PTSD in a given year. They add that an average of 17 U.S. veterans die by suicide every day, highlighting the ongoing mental health crisis. Meanwhile, the National Alliance on Mental Illness figures nearly 1 in 4 active duty service members show signs of a mental health condition. So let's look at this a little deeper with David Kendrick. He is a Purple Heart recipient and Iraq War veteran who was shot by a sniper back in 2007. Now you travel the country speaking about PTSD and the invisible wounds of war. So take us back to the beginning. What inspired you to join the Army?
Well, in my hometown from Rochester, New York, there wasn't too much opportunity for me as a 17-year-old kid. So the Army provided me with the most opportunity leaving high school.
So you were deployed to Iraq. What kind of missions were you typically carrying out while you were there?
All right, so I deployed as a 19 Delta, a Cavalry Scout, and I deployed during the height of the war in 2006 during the troop surge. So we had different types of missions where we operated from out in sector with the actual Iraqi police. So we deployed on dismounted patrols, walking up and down the streets of Baghdad in 2006 and 2007.
And so talk more about that moment that changed everything for you.
Sure. June 17th, 2007, I was deployed with my unit, the 361st Cavalry Regiment out of Fort Carson, Colorado. And I was 20 years old at the time, just walking down the street on a dismounted patrol, and I heard a loud crack, and I was shot by a sniper. We were ambushed. I got shot by a sniper. The bullet broke my left leg, it severed my femoral artery, and it clipped my sciatic nerve. And then a truck of insurgents, they came on the traffic corner that we were on and did something called pray and spray, and I was shot again in my right leg.
Wow. And that is the same mission that led to your Purple Heart?
Yes, I earned a Purple Heart that day, yeah.
And so you've spoken very openly about battling PTSD, addiction, and even homelessness. What helped you sort of start turning things around for yourself?
Well, during my injuries, I got sent to a unit called the Warrior Transition Unit, and I saw how many other veterans were struggling. I made my E5 in this unit, and I got put on something called CQ, Charge of Quarters, and I saw on many occasions my fellow veterans were committing suicide in the barracks. And when I moved back home to Rochester, New York, I got taken in by a program called the Warrior Salute Program. And when I was in group therapy, I realized that not too many veterans knew how to verbalize what they were feeling. And that's why we had so many veterans committing suicide, and people really didn't know why. And that's when I started my company, Lion Speaking Agency, to speak on behalf of veterans who just don't know how to advocate for themselves and for the mental health of other veterans.
And when you hear about new fighting in the Middle East today, does it take you back to those memories in Iraq?
It does. I'm very concerned about it because my little sister's in the Army now. She saw me go in, get injured, and now, you know, we may have boots on the ground in Iran at any time now. And now, you know, we have two different groups of veterans. You know, we have the war in Iraq veterans, the OEF, OIF veterans like myself, who may see a new group of veterans fighting again in the Middle East, and it's very concerning.
And so lastly, we have about 30 seconds left. What do you want fellow veterans who may be struggling right now to hear as part of this message?
Well, help is definitely available. You know, I'm a national advocate for NAMI. There's a program called NAMI Homefront that provides family and caregivers of veterans with free mental health resources. And the most important thing you can do is just talk about how you feel. It may be with a close friend, maybe with a family member, but you know, once you are able to verbalize what you feel and the PTSD that you may be dealing with, then we know as a country how to tackle that and hopefully stop it from happening if this new generation of veterans gets sent to the Middle East again.
All right, David Kendrick, we thank you so much for your vulnerability. Thank you for being with us this morning. We'll have much more coming up right after this.